What's up, garden friends? Jeff here, Tropical Plant Party. How's everybody doing? You're good. I'm great. And I'm playing with my Vitellina today. I've been going through, doing some things with my orchids, and one thing I have to do on a fairly regular occasion is remove mealybugs. It's been a struggle out here, and I thought, hey, while I go through and look at this guy and see how it's doing, pull the mealybugs off, I can talk about it a little bit. See that? There's one right there. Now, this isn't really going to be much of a care video. I was checking things out, and it looks like Miss Orchid Girl did a video on this plant back in November 2017. And, you know, she did a really good job on that one, as she does with all of them. There's really not much I can add to what she had to say about this plant. All I can really do is pretty much just agree with everything she had to say. I am noticing that this is an extremely tough and forgiving orchid. You know, I've known that these are a cool growing orchid. They come from a higher elevation. But, you know, with the warmer temperatures I've been having in my grow space, it's really been doing just fine for me. Now, I will say though, I keep it on this table that has water flowing through it. It sits on top of some rocks. So it is always exposed. I just woke up and haven't coffeed yet. I apologize. So it's always exposed to cool running water just below the roots. And some of the roots seem to really be enjoying that access to moisture. Some of them not so much, but when I look inside the pot, I can see a lot of healthy roots intertwined with roots that are pretty kind of pissed off. But looking at the plant overall, it seems to be doing really well. The pseudobulbs are still nice and thick. Really plump. They have that dusty appearance to them that's common with the Vitellina. And as of recently, there's a new growth coming up here, which is excellent. This isn't in bright light or anything crazy. It's doing wonderfully. The flowers have held very strong. Now, I got this in flower. It's another reason I can't really do a care video necessarily on this plant is I haven't had it that long. Anything I tell you would just be me repeating information. So I may as well just link you to a video down below by Miss Orchid Girl. She'll take care of all that. But like I was saying, it has been very sturdy and tough. These flowers have been on here for quite a while. This did have 3 blooming spikes on it. It's down to its last 2 and they're starting to fade. But considering I've had it for, I don't know, I want to say around 7 weeks. Close to it that I've had this guy. These flowers are holding up really, really well. It's lost a few, and this spike when I got it was pretty much already done. So, you know, that's always nice. I like when an orchid's flowers last a really long time. What I'm doing here, I probably should have mentioned, this is rubbing alcohol. That's a Q-tip. I rub it on the mealybugs, it dries them out, and I can pull them off. That's what that's about. I have to go through and get in here and check inside the flowers and everything, and mostly it seems to be just behind the petals and sepals is where they like to kind of hide out. Another noteworthy characteristic of this particular orchid is that it is extremely hard to focus on camera, to get the cameras to focus on. That's not just me. I've noticed when I've seen other videos of this orchid, it really is not, it doesn't play that well with the camera. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just because it is so vibrant. The way the light reflects off of it, it's just more than an aperture can handle. Not really. I did spend some time adjusting my settings to try and make it so that the colors come through true to life as best as possible, but you know, it's interesting to me that the majority of the mealybugs are all on this spike. I haven't really seen any on this one back here. Wonder why that would be. Maybe it's in a closer proximity to another plant that has a lot of mealybugs on it. Guess I'm gonna need to go back there and really do some digging. I don't see the mealybugs actually on the flowers all that often. Not on the front of them, they're usually just behind them. There we go. Sure, rubbing alcohol is going to be great for that. Okay, like I was saying before, the Vitellina is a cool growing orchid from higher elevations, or intermediate to cool growing. But the temperatures have gotten really toasty in here, and it's been okay. You know, it's been in the upper 80s to lower to mid 90s on several occasions. That hasn't been a problem. And there were times when it was that high that the water was shut off to that humidity table. so it was actually exposed and a little bit drier than it should be. I did notice that when this dries out, the roots brown up pretty much instantaneously. So this does not appear to appreciate any type of drought, that is for sure. So if I were to have to keep this inside because maybe it's going to be too hot in the summertime, it'd be a little bit more tricky for me to keep it hydrated. But I'm thinking, after seeing the way it has behaved with those 80 and 90 degree temperatures, that I think this should be just fine outside for me during the summer in the shade. I mean, obviously with some dappled light coming through it, you know, it needs some sun, but it should be cooler in the shade even on a 100-degree day, as long as it gets watered very early in the morning. I think it should be just fine, but we will see. If we have a prolonged heat spell, which may or may not happen, you never know here. My summers are very odd and unpredictable, but you know, there are occasions where we can be, you know, into the hundreds for several days at a time, even a couple weeks. If that happens, I'll probably move it inside just to be safe, and it can enjoy the air conditioning. I'll keep it on top of like a humidity tray or something like that. Maybe I'll just set it next to my fish tank, who knows. There's a lot of different options, we will see. But I don't think it's going to be as delicate or sensitive to the heat as, say, my Miltoniopsis. I don't think I'm going to have to work quite as hard to keep this guy growing and thriving for me in the heat. But I'm thinking this guy will probably be alright, as long as, you know, I do keep an eye on it, keep it out of the sun. I'm probably going to keep it down low. I have noticed with my Zygopetalums during the summertime, if I keep them where they get some morning sun, but pretty much shade throughout the rest of the day on top of the cement, so instead of having them up on plant stands or tucked into my trees like I do with some of my other plants, if I actually have them sitting on the cool cement, that seems to do well for them. I think that actually helps cool them. They wick up some of the coolness from the ground, as long as, you know, I make sure to spray the ground down in the morning, which I always do because they get watered and then the cement cools. But yeah, that probably wouldn't work if they were in sun and it were cooking the pavement beneath them. So if it comes to it, I'll just, you know, maybe set it on the ground with my Zygopetalum, see if that'll do the trick. I am really, really pleased with how long the flowers have lasted on this plant, though. That might be my favorite thing about it so far. I mean, I love the pseudobulbs. Any plant with really bulbous, round, plump pseudobulbs always makes me happy. And that's the case with this guy. I was a little bit concerned because there's a lot of mottling in the foliage and discoloration. A little bit harder to see on camera, but the color really isn't even, I should say. After watching a lot of other videos and seeing a lot of other pictures of this plant, it seems to be pretty typical. So I'm not as worried. I thought I was like, oh god, there's some kind of virus creeping in here, but no, I don't think that's the case at all, seeing as how pretty much all the other pictures I see, if you look close enough, you can see that there's kind of some mottled discoloration within the green hues of the leaves. So that was a relief. But yeah, I had hesitated with this plant in the past because I had been told that they're, you know, a cooler growing orchid and probably not going to be suited to my environment, but honestly, I'm finding that harder to believe now. And yeah, maybe it won't be the most ideal situation for it during the summertime, but I can just bring it inside to the air conditioning to solve that problem. So, no big deal. Challenge accepted. I really do love these pseudobulbs so much. It's just adorable. Flowers are starting to dry. They're ready to fall off. So within the next, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks, I'll be able to go ahead and repot this. It is definitely time to go ahead and move the pot up a size. You can see that new pseudobulb is really up against the edge there. I'd prefer for this to be centered in a larger pot. And I think that's actually going to do it. I just kind of want to do a quick little sit-down plant chat with my Vitellina. Partially because, I mean, not just for everybody else to watch, but so I can reflect back on it too and see the plant within its beginning weeks of when I got it, so I can have kind of a record to compare its health and its progress to and whatnot, you know, be able to look at those pseudobulbs and go, man, were these pseudobulbs, you know, like if they start to shrivel, I'll be able to notice a little bit more easily if I can I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. Just thought it'd be nice to talk about for a little bit because it is really pretty and it's one of my favorite orchids that I have, I think. It's got some sexy flowers on it. I'll link Miss Orchid Girl's video down below if you want like a much more thorough, in-depth care guide to this plant. But comment down below, what's your experience with the Vitellina? This is Encyclia Vitellina or Prostechea Vitellina, and I'm really enjoying it, but I have heard people talk about it just not doing well for them in warmer climates, so let me know. Or just comment down below and say hi, and you know, we can just talk about plants. It's just fun nerding out. Same thing with social media. I'll put my social media down below in the roots of the video. Follow me, I'll follow you back. We can look at each other's pictures and have fun, nerdy plant time together. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It helps the video so much. I really, truly appreciate every single one of them. Subscribe as well. I upload multiple times a week. And I hope everybody's doing well. So as always, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.